So hello and welcome guys. Today I'll be sharing some insightful knowledge for interview preparation for a front-end developer, and this is going to be an HTML only class. I'll use a little bit of CSS also. So these are a few questions I've prepared which are asked in interview. So let's get started. So first of all, are HTML tags and elements the same thing? So firstly, HTML tags are like h1 and it's inside a arrows like less than greater than symbol, not capital H, small h1. So this is an HTML tag, and this one is also an HTML tag, h1 and with a hyphen. These are closing, but if we use them like this, for say we are using a paragraph tag p and we write something over there, something like para, p-a-r-a, and then we close it. So this entire thing makes an element. So this is the difference between an element and a tag. So if it is asked in interview, you can say this. Also, now let's go to the next question. What are tags and attributes? So now we know that this thing is a tag, but attributes are like if we add a class name or a class is equal to something like hello, hello. So this can later be used. So this thing is a attribute. So these are basically enhances the tags, or whatever is going to be inside this tag over here, it is going to enhance that. So that are the attributes, like properties which we can add to the tags. So now let's move to the next question. So basically attributes are like properties of the tags. Whatever we want to add properties, we can add them with the help of attributes. So I hope that clears everything. Now let's move to the next question. What are void elements? Okay, so void elements are like the ones which do not require a closing tag, like this, like HR, horizontal row. This HR tag, it is just this. So let me write it with the help of an example. So switching back to the code, let's go to the top. Over here we have these 4 classes. Over here I'll add it after this. So basically HR, I'm not sure if there is a, see, we don't need to close this, it is just a thing, it is just a tag which does not require a closing tag. Also there is BR for breaking the line, like over here this is in a same line, we can add a BR tag over here. So this will create a line break. So let's try to refresh the page. See, it is switching to the next line. So this is the BR tag. Let's undo these. I will keep the HR tag though. Yeah, so let this line be over here as a reminder. Okay, so we are done with these 3 questions. I hope you understood now what void elements are. These are elements, these are tags which do not require any help of a closing tag. So these are like no element can be wrapped around it, inside it. So these do not have any elements, but these are single entirely. They can be considered as tags and elements at the same time. Okay, so now let's move to the next question. What are the different types of list in HTML? So for reference I wrote DT, DL and DD. So this for, let's let me tell you with the help of the code. First we have four kind of lists. So some people say three kind of lists. This nested list is not mentioned anywhere, most places, but I'll cover that right now. So we have ordered list. Ordered list means like we have order like 1 2 3 or ABC or Roman 1 2 3 like over here. So this is the format. We cover it with the OL ordered list, and then list items with the li property, li tags. We create the elements like this. So we have to modify this. For modifying this we go to the CSS, and for the OL we can just select the OL property, and then see it is not a class or an attribute, so no hashtag or a dot in front of it. It is just the element tag itself. So this is a list style type. This is the property we use to modify our ordered list. So this is upper Roman. If I will comment it out, let me just comment it out and save it. So if I comment it out, then let's refresh it. See, now it has changed to 1 2 3. Before this, if I uncomment it, now it will change back to the Roman format. Similarly, for the unordered list, the unordered list, starting with the unordered list UL tag, then the list items are there in the same format. But for this there is a similar list style type, but we use different names like square for squares. By default these are circular, but I've changed it to square for demonstration purpose. For this, then we have the description list DL. So this is the description list. So there is a format, so we cover it with the DL. The outermost tag is going to be DL, description list. Then the inner element should be DT, description title, and DD, description data. So like HTML is the title and hypertext markup language is the data. Similarly we have CSS as the title and CS cascading style sheets as data. So this is the format it will come in. Like this will be front, and this will be starting after the text, after a tab, index tab space. Then we have the nested list. So it is not mentioned a lot of places because it is considered as a hybrid list. Like we can create it with the help of unordered list or ordered list. So over here we have done it with the help of an unordered list. Firstly we started with an unordered list, then list item is fruits, which is this thing. Then we have a subcategory inside this, the C unordered list. Wait, for demonstration purpose I can make it an ordered list. So that numbers will come over here. See, so now it is coming in this format. So I hope you understand this list, that we have four types of list: ordered, unordered, description, and nested. And nested can be created with the help of unordered and ordered lists. You can also create it with the help of a description list, but that would make it quite complicated. See, like description data, inside the description data we can put another DL, and then we can create it in a similar fashion. Yeah, so that is all in the list. Now let's move to the next question. What is the difference between ID and class attribute? Okay, so they say that ID property and class property are similar in most cases. It is used for CSS changes. So class we display it with the help of a dot in the CSS, and with the help of a hash in the CSS. So this is the basic difference in the CSS files. But if we go to the HTML file, the difference is not that see, like we define it with the help of a class attribute, and IDs we define it with the help of an ID attribute. Also they say that classes can be multiple in a HTML element, but there can only be one ID to one attribute tag. One element can only have one ID. The multiple IDs, similar IDs cannot be used by multiple elements. So but it works. I tried it, it works, but it is not good for the data readability and optimization of the code. See, the ID is working for these two cases. I'll comment it back. It is working, but we should not use it for the optimization and the code readability on the web page. The classes are given to, like, similar divs can have similar classes, but like buttons and all that, they can have different IDs. So like if we call it with the if we call it with the help of a JavaScript, like get element by ID, there should only be one ID. If we do it for multiple, so it is not a good scenario. Like in a class there can be multiple students, so this class can hold multiple students, like multiple tags, and this IDs like roll number, like one student can only have one roll number. So this is the way to go with classes and IDs. So now let's go to the next question. What are HTML entities? Okay. So HTML entities are characters like this symbol over here, this symbol, or this symbol, or the and sign, and other properties. So these are for writing them down in the HTML. We cannot represent them with this. It will show some kind of error. So let me see the entire page got colored red because I used the opening of a tag over here. So for displaying this, we have different combinations of text, like the enter a name. So this, if we enter this, it will let me paste it over here. So if we enter this, now we should see a arrow. See, so this is the entity name given to this entity. These are special reserved keywords. Entities are reserved keywords in HTML and JavaScript. So HTML basically. Okay, so now let me do the same. Entity number. This is a number. Instead of writing with characters, we can use a number to define it. It is easier to remember, like LT we can't remember it, can't relate to it, but 60 is a number we can easily remember. So now let's see if we get it. Yeah, see, so you can search for these similar entities, the different types. So for interview purposes, they will ask you this question, but you don't need to remember by heart. You just need to tell them that one example you can give. So I chose this one. So now let's go to the next question. What is the advantage of collapsing white spaces? So collapsing white spaces is a property of HTML where we can collapse multiple, where we can give multiple white spaces like this over here. After the HR tag, we have this Hi Harsh. So after this hi we can give multiple spaces and then save it. So by collapsing it will automatically collapse the space and only one space will remain. So it is good for the readability of the document. See, if I am refreshing this page, the spaces did not appear. So this is just for the readability of the page. Now let's go to the next question. Can we display a web page inside a web page, or is nesting of web pages possible? Yes, of course we can display a web page inside a web page. This Wikipedia page is a web page which I have displayed inside my current HTML index file. So you can see that this is the code, a single line of code. Iframe is the tag which we use for displaying it. And SRCs I use Google, Facebook and YouTube, and even the W3 school, but they were not working. So Wikipedia is the one which I found which is working fine inside iframe. So they have some restrictions, other website have some restrictions which do not allow you to like work, so that won't work on the iframe. So if the examiner asks you or interviewer asks you like what, give an example of working example, so this wikipedia.org is the website you can go for. Yeah, so now let's go to the next question. So guys, something went wrong. I restarted the recording. Now let's go to question number 9, which is in how many ways can we apply CSS. So firstly it is inline CSS. We can go to the code and apply the CSS like this using a style attribute, and we can define the properties of the attribute. Width and line is 100 pixel for now. Let's reduce it to 10. See over here the hi harsh is in one line, but if I reduce it to 10 it should go to the next line. Harsh should go to the next line. So yeah, see, it's working fine. So this is how we can apply style tag inline using inline CSS. Then the next way is using internal CSS. Internal CSS goes in the header of the file. Let me uncomment this code. Over here we can use a style tag. Over here we have used the, for internal inline CSS we have used style attribute, but for internal CSS we are using style tag, and we are defining the properties like this. Now let me save it and run, refresh the page. So this is changing the background. So this is how it is done, the internal CSS. And for external CSS we define the attributes using class or IDs, their names, or we can just where is the ordered list, or we can just take the tags. These tags we can just take them and write the CSS in a different file. See, dot represents a class, hashtag represents an ID, and the tags can be written directly without any prefix, sorry. And these are the properties we have passed on them. So this also we have to call the file. So this link ref style sheet href index, this is the way to call the external CSS file inside our file, and this is how we apply the external CSS. So now let's go to the next point, how to optimize the website web asset loading. Okay, loading, optimize web assets loading. So firstly we can use CDN hosting. CDN hosting is content delivery network hosting. So content delivery network provides a faster loading time for the asset, so when we can use it. It is an external service, so it will cost us money. So if we are independent creator we have to see if it is in our budget, but if we are working in an MNC, most of the MNCs already use this CDN hosting. File compression, we can reduce the file size of the file, so that would optimize the website asset loading. Lesser file size will load it faster. File concatenation, okay, we can multiple files we can concatenate together and load them together, so that would speed up the loading process instead of loading one by one. Minifying scripts, so we can reduce the file code size by writing it optimally. So if we write our code optimally, that would reduce the file size and also reduce the script size. So less lines of code will load faster. Parallel downloads, so this is nothing related to loading, but if we are downloading our assets from some place, so instead of loading one at a time, we can load multiple assets at the same time, so that would reduce the loading time. Also the lazy loading, instead of loading the entire page, we can load a portion of the page which is initially required and then load the remaining part when we need it, so that would be lazy loading. So this is all, and thank you so much for watching. See you next time.